Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. And today we'll be discussing the theory related to the chapter Human Reproduction. So, this is the part 4 of the lecture. Before starting this lecture, I just want to give you one information that the images, text, and other materials used in our presentations are for education purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathi@itk.ac.in and we shall remove the content immediately. Please note that parts of the content may have been generated using generative AI, which is experimental. So, what are the objective of today's lecture? Okay, what we will study in today's lecture. So, we'll talk about the gamete production in the females or gamete formation in the females. So, gamete formation in females is known as oogenesis. So, we'll talk about oogenesis. Today, we will use a graphical representation to understand the steps which are involved in the gamete formation in the females, means the oogenesis. Okay, I'll tell you about the ploidy level of these cells which are formed during the oogenesis. Ploidy level means the chromosome number. Okay, which cell is haploid, which cells are diploid, and how many chromosomes they have. Then which all cells are formed during oogenesis. So we'll be understanding the procedure of the oogenesis in this lecture. So we are talking about gametogenesis now, and within gametogenesis we'll be talking about oogenesis today. Okay. Then we will summarize this entire lecture, and then we will discuss the DPP related to this topic. So we were talking about gametogenesis. So gametogenesis, this is a broader term and it includes spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Spermatogenesis, this is the formation of male gamete in the, it happens in the males in the testes. Male gamete, they are known as sperms. And oogenesis, this is the formation of the egg, or you can say ovum. This occurs in the females in the ovaries. Now, the process of formation of mature female gamete, this is known as oogenesis. And this is significantly different from the spermatogenesis. Okay. So we will also understand and we'll also discuss what are the difference between the oogenesis and spermatogenesis. Now, oogenesis is initiated during the embryonic developmental stage when a couple of million gamete mother cells known as oogonia are formed within each fetal ovary, and no more oogonia are formed and added after the birth. So this is one of the major difference between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Oogenesis means egg formation. In the case of females, oogenesis is initiated during the embryonic stage, during the fetal stage. And the oogonia, they are formed in the fetal ovary. So oogonia formed in the fetal stage. Okay, also known as the prenatal stage. So these gamete mother cells known as oogonia, and millions of them are formed in the fetal ovary. And you can see no more oogonia are formed and added after the birth. So all the oogonia, they are formed before the birth, and no more oogonia are formed after the birth. Now, this raises the question here. Then egg production starts at the puberty. Okay, after the female attains puberty, then the eggs are released during the menstrual cycle. So if the oogonia are formed in the fetal ovary, then why the eggs are released after the puberty? Okay, so what will be the answer for this question? So this is also a major difference between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Spermatogenesis means sperm formation. It starts in the males at the puberty. When the males, they attain puberty. But oogenesis is starting in the fetal stage. Now, these oogonia, they start dividing and they enter into the prophase 1 of meiosis, meiotic division, and get temporarily arrested at that stage called the primary oocyte. So this is the answer for the question why the eggs are released in the females after the puberty. So these oogonia are formed. These oogonia, they are diploid cell. Remember this. Means they are twin. They have two sets of chromosomes. In case of humans, a diploid cell consists of 46 chromosomes. To oogonia, they are diploid cells, so they will contain 46 chromosomes. So these oogonia, they differentiate to form primary oocytes. So this primary oocyte will be again, they will be 2N. Means they are diploid. Means they will also contain 46 chromosomes. Okay. Now these primary oocyte, they are arrested in the prophase 1 of the meiosis. Here. So they are arrested at the meiosis 1. That's why the eggs are produced after the puberty, because this meiotic division is completed after the female attains puberty. Otherwise, the primary oocyte, they are arrested in the prophase 1 of meiosis 1. And they complete their division, they complete this meiosis division when the females attains puberty. Okay. So meiosis completes in two phases, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 has what stages? Meiosis 1 have your prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, and telophase 1. Similarly, meiosis 2 will have prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, and telophase 2. Alright. So these primary oocytes, they are arrested in the prophase 1 of meiosis 1. Here. Now, you can see here, this is a diagrammatic sectional view of the ovary. Here they have shown you the different follicles that are being formed within the ovary. We'll talk about how these follicles are formed. So, for now, you should know this is the primary follicle. This primary follicle transform into secondary follicle transform into tertiary follicle, then tertiary follicle transforms into mature follicle, that is also known as Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle will rupture to release the secondary oocyte, which is sometimes known as ovum, and the remnants of the Graafian follicle, it forms the corpus luteum. Okay, this is clear. So we'll talk about how these follicles are formed within the ovary. Okay, they're forming within the ovary. So let's see how this primary follicle is formed. Now the primary oocyte, it gets surrounded by a layer of the granulosa cells, and this is known as the primary follicle. Okay. So this is how the primary follicle is forming when the primary oocyte gets surrounded by a single layer of the granulosa cells. Now, what are these granulosa cells? So these granulosa cells, they are somatic cells in the ovaries that surround and support the oocyte. Okay, so these are known as the granulosa cells. Now, primary follicle is formed. Primary follicle consists of the primary oocyte. Now, large number of these follicles degenerate during the phase from birth to puberty. Okay, now, these primary follicles, a lot of these primary follicles, they degenerate from the time from birth to the puberty. Initially, millions of these primary follicles are formed, but slowly they degenerate till the female attains puberty. Okay. Therefore, at puberty, only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in each ovary. Clear? So how many primary follicles are left? 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in each ovary. Now, the primary follicles get surrounded by more layers of granulosa cells and the new theca and are called as the secondary follicles. So, from the primary follicle, now secondary follicle develops. How secondary follicle is developing? When the primary follicles, it gets surrounded by more layer of granulosa cells, it forms the secondary follicle. Now, the secondary follicle also consists of the primary oocyte. So here again, we can see diagrammatical sectional view of the ovary. Now you can see this is the primary follicle. Primary follicle consists of the primary oocyte. Then from the primary follicle, secondary follicles are formed, which is not shown here. The secondary follicle will also consist of the primary oocyte. Then from the secondary follicle, tertiary follicle is formed. It consists of the fluid-filled cavity known as the antrum. This antrum, this is the characteristic feature of the tertiary follicles. Now, the secondary follicle soon transform into a tertiary follicle, which is characterized by a fluid-filled cavity called as the antrum. Okay, so you can see antrum is a characteristic feature of the tertiary follicle. The question can come from here. Antrum is present in which follicle? So we'll say antrum is present in the tertiary follicle. Antrum is a characteristic feature of tertiary follicle. And what? It is a fluid-filled cavity that develops within the tertiary follicle. And this fluid is secreted by the granulosa cells which surrounds the follicle. Okay? Granulosa cells was present outside this primary oocyte. So this granulosa cell secretes this fluid. Now, the theca layer is organized into an inner theca interna and outer theca externa. So there are theca layers also. One is inner, another one is the outer. Now, this is very important here, this line. It is important to draw your attention that it is at this stage that the primary oocyte within the tertiary follicles grows in size and completes its first meiotic division. Okay, so what does this mean? So primary oocyte is present in these follicles. Primary oocyte was present in primary follicle also, secondary follicle also, and tertiary follicle also. Now when the tertiary follicle forms, then what happens? This primary oocyte, which is present within the tertiary follicle, this will complete its first meiotic division. Okay. So again, question can come from here. When does the primary oocyte completes its first meiotic division? Means they are talking about meiosis 1. So primary oocyte, when it is present within the tertiary follicle, then it completes its first meiotic division, means meiosis 1. Okay. So primary oocyte, they are diploid. They have 2n number of chromosome. They have 46 number of chromosome in case of humans. Meiosis occurs in the diploid cells only. Okay. After meiosis, what happens? The chromosome number are reduced to half. So meiosis is known as the reductional division. Okay. So again, we have discussed this image, primary follicle, the secondary follicle, then tertiary follicle. This tertiary follicle contains the primary oocyte, which is diploid. This primary oocyte completes its first meiotic division when it is present within the tertiary follicle. Now, again, this is very important here. This division, meiosis 1, this is unequal division. Now, what do you mean by this unequal division? Unequal division means a large cell is formed and a small cell is formed. So due to this unequal division, what is formed? A large haploid secondary oocyte is formed and a tiny first polar body is formed. Okay. Now, after meiosis, what? Haploid cells are formed, means they have n number of chromosomes. So they will have 23 number of chromosomes in case of humans. So secondary oocyte, this is haploid. Okay, ploidy. If someone asks you ploidy level of secondary oocyte, it is haploid. It has 23 number of chromosomes in case of humans. Then a large, you can see, secondary oocyte is formed. And a tiny, means small, first polar body is formed. Okay. If this is the primary oocyte, from this a large secondary oocyte is formed and a small first polar body is formed. So this polar body, it usually degenerates. Sometimes it can divide by mitosis, but then the resulting cell, they also degenerate. Now, why this is unequal division? Okay, why this unequal division is happening here? And why large haploid secondary oocyte is produced? So bulk of the cytoplasm of the primary oocyte is retained in the secondary oocyte. And very less cytoplasm remains in the first polar body. Because the secondary oocyte will later on form the ovum. Okay. And the ovum is also large because it will further lead to the formation of the embryo. So that's why the bulk of the cytoplasm of the primary oocyte, this is the primary oocyte, it retains in the secondary oocyte, which is this one, and very less cytoplasm is available for the first polar body. Yep. So what happens? I'm repeating again. In tertiary follicle, the primary oocyte is present. And at this stage, the primary oocyte will divide. So the tertiary follicle will contain primary oocyte only. This secondary oocyte will not be present in the tertiary follicle. It will be present in the Graafian follicle, which is the next stage. Okay. So after tertiary follicle, Graafian follicle is present. Graafian follicle consists of the secondary oocyte. Okay. So here you can see this is schematic representation of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Spermatogenesis we have already discussed. We'll consider it on the figure 2.8b. Okay, which is this one. So here they have shown you schematic representation of egg formation in the females. So here they have shown you the chromosome number, means the ploidy, and here they have shown you the entire process and the various cells that are formed, various stages of the oogenesis they have shown you. So what is happening here? The oogonia, they are kind of stem cells, like spermatogonia were present in the testes. They were also kind of stem cells because they can self-renew themselves by mitosis. So they can increase their number by mitosis. Okay. And then they can differentiate also to form primary spermatocytes. Similarly, oogonia, they can also increase their number by mitosis. They can self-renew themselves and they also differentiate to form the primary oocytes. So oogonia, they will be diploid cells. They will have 46 number of chromosome. Remember, meiosis always occurs in the diploid cells. Oogonia consists of diploid cell. Then some of the oogonia, they differentiate into primary oocytes. So this primary oocyte will also be diploid, means they will contain 46 number of the chromosomes. Okay. Then you can see this is all happening in the fetal's life. This is the fetal life. This is happening in the prenatal stage. Or this is happening in the fetal ovaries. So primary oocyte, they are formed before the birth. You can say all the oogonia, all the primary oocyte, they are formed before the birth of the female. Okay, then there is birth, then there is childhood stage, then the female attains puberty. When the female attains puberty, then the primary oocyte, which is present in the tertiary follicle, this will divide to form a large haploid secondary oocyte. So this is large haploid secondary oocyte. And a small polar body is formed. So this is the first polar body. Okay. This division is unequal, you can see, because a large haploid secondary oocyte is formed. So bulk of the cytoplasm of the primary oocyte is retained in the secondary oocyte, because secondary oocyte will later form the ovum, and the ovum will later form the embryo. Okay, now the secondary oocyte will again divide. It will complete its second meiotic division, means meiosis 2, and it will form a large haploid ovum and the second polar body. These polar bodies usually degenerate. They don't have any role in the reproduction. And why do they degenerate? Because they have very less cytoplasm. So they degenerate. Even if they divide, then the resulting cells, they also degenerate. Okay, here. So you can see here, these all red color cells, these are all oogonia. These are oogonia. They are increasing their number by mitosis. So mitosis this is known as the equational division. Okay. In mitosis, what happens at the end of mitosis? From one cells, two cells are formed. From one parent cell, two daughter cells are formed. Then some of the oogonia differentiate into primary oocyte. So this is the primary oocyte, this cell. This primary oocyte will also be diploid. Okay, so before birth, these primary oocytes are formed. Then at puberty, what happens? Or after puberty, primary oocyte will undergo meiosis 1, because this primary oocyte was arrested at the prophase 1 of meiosis 1. It will complete its meiosis 1, and it will form a large secondary oocyte and the first polar body. Okay, so this is the secondary oocyte. The secondary oocyte will complete its meiosis 2 division, and then it will form a second polar body and the ovum. Okay, we'll study in upcoming slide that the secondary oocyte is also arrested at the metaphase 2 of meiosis 2. Okay, first of all, primary oocyte was arrested at prophase 1 of meiosis 1. Then secondary oocyte is also arrested at the metaphase 2 of the meiosis 2. And what initiates the division here? What initiates the completion of meiosis 2? When the sperm, when it's come in contact with the egg, then the secondary oocyte completes its second meiotic division and it forms the ovum and the second polar body. Again, one thing here to remember is that the first polar body is formed after meiosis 1 and second polar body is formed after meiosis 2. Okay. One more thing, after meiosis 1, secondary oocyte is formed. After meiosis 2, ovum is formed. So you should remember everything. You should remember the ploidy level of these cells, how many chromosomes are present in these cells, what cells are formed at what stage. Okay. So you can see, you can divide this whole oogenesis into different phases. Okay. Fetal life, then birth, childhood, puberty, then adult reproductive life. Or you can also differentiate this oogenesis into these 5 stages. Okay. First one is the prenatal. Prenatal stage means the fetal stage. In this, the primordial germ cells will form the oogonia. Then there is an antral stage. So antrum was formed in the tertiary follicle. So tertiary follicle is formed, which consists of primary oocyte. Okay, this primary oocyte is arrested in the prophase 1 of meiosis. Then there is the pre-ovulating stage, when the primary oocyte will divide into secondary oocyte. Then there is the ovulation phase, when secondary oocyte will be released due to rupture of the Graafian follicle. And then there will be fertilization phase. Here, so you should remember all of this. So you can see oogenesis is quite complex as compared to spermatogenesis. So if we compare spermatogenesis to oogenesis, you can see spermatogenesis starts at puberty, when the primary sex organs, which is testes in males, they become active, they start producing hormones, they start producing androgens, specifically testosterone. And it is quite simple. You can see spermatogonia which are diploid. Some of the spermatogonia, they form the primary spermatocyte, which will be again diploid. Primary spermatocytes undergo first meiotic division, form secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocyte undergo second meiotic division to form spermatids. 4 spermatids are formed from one primary spermatocyte, and finally spermatozoa are formed. And you can see one more difference here, that meiosis in spermatogenesis, this is continuous. But meiosis in case of oogenesis, this is not continuous. Okay. Meiosis, the cells, they are arrested. Primary oocyte is arrested in prophase 1 of meiosis 1. Secondary oocyte is also arrested in the metaphase 2 of the meiosis 2. So there is a question here. The secondary oocyte retains bulk of the nutrient-rich cytoplasm of the primary oocyte. Now, can you think of any advantage of this? Okay, and does the first polar body born out of the first meiotic division divide further, or they degenerate? So why the secondary oocyte remains bulk of the nutrient-rich cytoplasm of the primary oocyte? This is the first question here. So what will be the answer here? So the secondary oocytes retention of bulk cytoplasm is advantageous because, so why the secondary oocyte retains bulk of the cytoplasm? So the cytoplasm contains all the nutrients, and it contains all the organelles also, which are required for the embryo development after the fertilization. So what happens? Secondary oocyte will undergo meiosis 2. It will form what? The ovum. Means the egg. The egg will be fertilized, and a zygote will be formed, then embryo will be formed. So the cytoplasm, which is rich in nutrients and the organelles, so these organelles are also involved in the production of proteins and carbohydrates, which are required for the early embryo development. Okay, so this is the main reason here. So this ensures survival of developing embryo before the implantation. So what happens during the implantation? The blastocyst get attached to the uterine wall, and then it attains nutrients from the uterine wall. But before that, how the early embryo attains nutrients? It attains nutrients from the cytoplasm, which is rich in the nutrients. So that's why the bulk of the cytoplasm in the secondary ovum and in the secondary oocyte and then in the ovum helps ensure the survival of the developing embryo before the implantation. After implantation, the developing embryo can obtain nutrients from the uterine, you can say, the wall also. Now, what about the first polar body? So it usually degenerates. Okay, sometimes it may divide during meiosis 2 also, but these cells also degenerate. So sometimes the polar body can again further divide by mitosis, but these cells also, they degenerate. These polar bodies, they contain minimum cytoplasm, and that's why they are not functional. Now, this unequal division ensures the future egg cell has maximum resources for potential embryo development. Now, at present, we are not very certain about this. Means they are talking about the polar body. So some say polar body degenerate, so some say polar body, they divide. But usually they degenerate because they have minimum cytoplasm. Okay. Now the tertiary follicle further changes into the mature follicle, also known as the Graafian follicle. Clear? So after tertiary follicle, what is happening? The tertiary follicle is or gets transformed into the mature follicle, also known as the Graafian follicle. Now, secondary oocyte forms a new membrane called the zona pellucida surrounding it. Okay, so secondary oocyte now start developing a membrane. This membrane is known as the zona pellucida. Remember this. So there are many layers around the egg. Corona radiata, zona pellucida. We will talk about this in our upcoming slides. So now the secondary oocyte forms a new membrane, which is known as the zona pellucida. Now the Graafian follicle now ruptures to release the secondary oocyte from the ovary by the process known as the ovulation. Here. So this Graafian follicle now consists of the secondary oocyte. This Graafian follicle will rupture. And what stimulates the rupture of this Graafian follicle? Okay, so there is an LH surge. There is a rise in the level of the LH, rapid rise in the level of the luteinizing hormone. This is known as LH surge. This LH surge causes the Graafian follicle to rupture. Now, why there is a sudden LH surge? We'll talk about this when we'll talk about the menstrual cycle. So just before the ovulation means at around 14 days, at 14 days ovulation occurs. So just before the ovulation, there is an LH surge. So this luteinizing hormone is released by the anterior pituitary. So there is LH surge also, and the level of FSH also increases just before ovulation. The level of both these hormones are maximum just before the ovulation. Specifically LH, luteinizing hormone, this initiates the rupture of the Graafian follicle. Okay. So Graafian follicle ruptures and it releases the secondary oocyte that will form the ovum later. So the secondary oocyte is released by the ovary, and this process is known as the ovulation. Okay. So what is ovulation? Release of the secondary oocyte. Clear? So one secondary oocyte will be released per menstrual cycle. Remember this. Menstrual cycle is monthly cycle. It is of around 28 to 29 days. So one secondary oocyte is released every month. Okay. And one primary oocyte develops from one oogonia, and the 3 oogonia degenerates. So in oogenesis, what happens? Initially, one primary oocyte is formed from one oogonium, and the 3 oogonia, they degenerate. Okay, so starting from a group of 4 oogonia, only one will develop into primary oocyte, and the other they die off. And then one secondary oocyte is released per menstrual cycle. So again, you can see this is a diagrammatical sectional view of the ovary. Here, they have shown you the development of the follicles. This development of the follicles requires a hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, which is again released from the anterior pituitary. The primary follicle transforms into secondary follicle into tertiary follicle, which is characterized by the presence of antrum. The tertiary follicle will transform into mature follicle, also known as a Graafian follicle. And again, the primary oocyte within the tertiary follicle, this will complete its meiotic division, first meiotic division, to form the secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte is present in the Graafian follicle. Now this Graafian follicle will rupture due to an LH surge, and when it will rupture, it will release the secondary oocyte. Now remaining part of the Graafian follicle, this transforms into the corpus luteum. This corpus luteum acts as a temporary endocrine gland, and it secretes the progesterone. So let's continue with this lecture. Now, this is a question, can you identify major differences between spermatogenesis and oogenesis? So we have already discussed some of the differences. So let's study the differences between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So here you can see spermatogenesis occurs in the testes, and within the testes, these sperm formation takes place in the seminiferous tubules. So these seminiferous tubules, or you can say the inner side of the seminiferous tubule, consists of spermatogonia as well as the Sertoli cells. These spermatogonia undergo meiosis to form the spermatozoa. Then oogenesis occurs within the ovaries, and follicles are formed within the ovaries. Then spermatogenesis starts at the puberty and it continues throughout the life. So the sperms are even produced in the old man. Then oogenesis begins before the birth, in the prenatal stage. In the fetal embryo, in the fetal ovaries, the oogonia are produced, and no more oogonia are added after the birth. Then the oogenesis pauses. So the primary oocyte, it gets arrested in the prophase 1 of the meiosis 1, and then it resumes at the puberty. Oogenesis resumes at the puberty. Now, 4 functional sperms are produced from one spermatogonium. Now, only one functional ovum is produced from one oogonium. Then spermatogenesis, what happens? Spermatogenesis, millions of sperms are produced every day, and in oogenesis, around 400 eggs are produced in lifetime. Then sperms, they are very small in size. They are 20 to 25 micrometer. The egg, the ovum, it is of large size, and it is around 100 to 120 micrometers. Sperms, they are motile. Egg, it is non-motile, and it is large. Okay, it is large. It consists of, you can say, good quantity of cytoplasm, which will help in the early embryo development. Now, meiotic division in case of spermatogenesis, it is continuous and complete, whereas in oogenesis, the primary oocyte get arrested in the prophase 1 of meiosis 1, and secondary oocyte get arrested at the metaphase 2 of the meiosis 2. And then the secondary oocyte completes its meiosis 2 when it comes in contact with the sperm. Okay. Then cytoplasm division. In spermatogenesis, it is equal, but in oogenesis, there is unequal division. So, due to unequal division, large secondary oocyte is formed and a small first polar body is formed. And again, then in meiosis 2, which is also unequal, a large ovum is formed and a small second polar body is formed. Now, in sperms, they contain minimum cytoplasm. Oogenesis, what happens? The eggs which are produced, they contain large number of cytoplasm. Reason, you already know why they contain large number of amount of cytoplasm. Okay. Then sperms, they are motile. They have a tail, and with the help of the tail, they can move. And we have already studied that for the movement, energy is required. And this energy is provided by the mitochondria, which is present in the middle piece of the sperm. Then egg, it is non-motile. Then spermatogenesis continues throughout the life. Sperm formation occurs throughout the life, but the sperms are not that viable. Then oogenesis is stopped at the menopause, which is at around 50 years of age in the females. Then you can see here, spermatogenesis is controlled by FSH, LH, and testosterone. Oogenesis is influenced by FSH, LH, estrogen, and progesterone. Okay, so spermatogenesis, you can see luteinizing hormone is very important because this luteinizing hormone, it stimulates the Leydig cell to secrete testosterone. And follicle stimulating hormone, this will act on the Sertoli cells, And the secretion of the Sertoli cell is very important for the initiation of the spermatogenesis. Then oogenesis, follicle stimulating hormone helps in the development of the follicles. Luteinizing hormone help in the rupture of the Graafian follicle. Then estrogen and progesterone, these are also very important. Okay, estrogen and progesterone play a very important role during the menstrual cycle. Clear? Progesterone is mainly secreted by the corpus luteum, and very small amount of estrogen is also released by the corpus luteum. So that's why it is known as a temporary endocrine gland. And when the corpus luteum degenerates, then a structure is formed which is known as the corpus albigans. Okay, now this is a diagrammatic representation of spermatogenesis, oogenesis. We have already discussed this. So what you should remember in this graphical representation, schematic representation, you should know the number of chromosomes which are present in these cells. Spermatogenesis, it is quite simple. Spermatogonia, which are diploid, they will give rise to primary spermatocytes. Primary spermatocyte will give rise to 2 secondary spermatocytes. And then finally 4 spermatids are found. Spermatid differentiate into spermatozoa. This process is known as spermiogenesis. Okay. Then spermatozoa, spermatid, secondary spermatocyte, these are all haploid cell. Primary spermatocyte, spermatogonia, these are diploid cells. Then oogonia, this you can see oogenesis is little bit complex as compared to spermatogenesis. Oogenesis starts at the in the fetal life. Oogonia formed during the fetal life in the fetal ovary. Then from oogonia, primary oocyte are formed before the birth of the female. These primary oocytes are arrested in the prophase 1 of meiosis. They complete their meiotic division after the female attains puberty, and this division is unequal. Okay, they complete their meiosis 1, and this division is unequal. They form a large secondary oocyte and a small, you can say, first polar body which degenerates. Then secondary oocyte again it is arrested in the metaphase 2 of meiosis 2. It completes its division when it comes in contact with the sperm, and then it forms a large ovum and a small or tiny second polar body. Okay, so you can divide oogenesis into different phases. Okay, so these phases are also very important. You should mention these also, and the ploidy level of the cells also. Okay. Then you should know about the follicles which are being formed in the ovary, primary, secondary, tertiary, and then Graafian follicles. Okay, the Graafian follicle rupture and it will release the secondary oocyte. Now let's summarize this entire lecture. Process of formation of mature female gamete is called oogenesis, means formation of the egg. Now primordium germ cells, they develop into oogonia, and by mitotic division they increase their numbers. Oogonia, they differentiate to form the primary oocyte which will be diploid. They will have 46 number of chromosomes. Then oogenesis is resumes at puberty. This primary oocyte will complete their meiosis 1. They will form secondary oocyte, and then secondary oocyte will complete it meiosis 2. Okay, but they get arrested in the metaphase 2 of meiosis 2. When they come in contact with the sperm, they will complete their meiosis 2, and they will form a large ovum and a tiny second polar body. So this was about the oogenesis. Okay, so now we'll start with the DPP related to this topic. Now, what is the first question here? Exclusion of second polar body from egg nucleus occurs. Okay, so second polar body is formed when? Okay, so when the secondary oocyte completes its meiosis 2, second meiotic division, then the second polar body is formed as well as the ovum is formed. Okay, so after meiosis 1, first polar body is formed. After meiosis 2, second polar body is formed. What are the options here? After the entry of sperm, before the completion of fertilization. Second option is after the completion of. Okay, so let's begin with the first question again. So first question is exclusion of second polar body from egg nucleus occurs. So second polar body is formed after meiosis 2. Okay. First polar body is formed after meiosis 1. So what are the options? After the entry of sperm, before the completion of fertilization. Okay, then second option is after the completion of fertilization. Third option is before the entry of the sperm. And then fourth option is has no relation to the sperm entry. What will be the correct answer? Okay, so answer will be option number A. Option number A is the correct answer here. Okay, so exclusion of second polar body from egg nucleus occurs after the entry of the sperm, before the completion of the fertilization. So secondary oocyte, it will complete its meiosis 2, it will form ovum and the second polar body. Next question, oogenesis comprises of multiplication phase, growth phase, maturation phase, and all of the above. What will the correct answer here? Okay, here the correct answer will be all of the above. Okay, multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. All these phases comprises, or you can say, occurs during the oogenesis. So what happens in the multiplication phase? The oogonia, they differentiate to form the oogonia, they multiply. You know oogonia can undergo mitotic division, so they can increase their number by mitosis. And what happens in the growth phase is oogonia, they differentiate into primary oocyte. And then what happens in the maturation phase, the primary oocyte, they complete their meiotic division. First meiotic division, they form secondary oocyte, and secondary oocyte will form the ovum. So all of the above means option number D is the correct answer here. The next one, which of the following statement about oogenesis is incorrect, means you have to select the false statement here. Incorrect statement, wrong statement, you have to select. First option, oogonia keep on adding in the ovary till puberty. So do the oogonia, they keep on forming till the puberty. Then second one, the primary oocyte are halted at prophase 1 of the meiosis division. Means primary oocyte, they are arrested in the prophase 1 of meiosis 1. And third, the fluid-filled cavity present in the primary follicle is called antrum. So they are saying antrum is formed in the primary follicles. Fourth option, the secondary oocyte forms a membrane called the zona glomerulosa around it. So what would be the correct answer here? Okay, so let's have a look at the answer here. Answer will be option number B. So 1, 3, and 4th statement, these are wrong. These are incorrect statements. So let's discuss this. First statement is oogonia keep on adding in the ovary till puberty. This is false statement because oogonia, they are only formed during the fetal stage. They are formed in the fetal ovary and no more oogonia are added after the birth. So this statement is wrong. At puberty, what happens? Only the primary oocyte will complete its first meiotic division, but no more oogonia will be formed. Then next is primary oocyte are halted at prophase 1 of meiosis division. This is true. The primary oocyte are arrested in the prophase 1 of meiosis 1 and they divide, they complete their meiosis 1 division when the female attains puberty. Third, the fluid-filled cavity present in the primary follicle is called antrum. This is also wrong statement because antrum is a characteristic feature of the tertiary follicle, not primary follicle. And fourth one, the secondary oocyte forms a membrane called as zona glomerulosa. This is also wrong because the secondary oocyte forms a membrane known as the zona pellucida. Answer will be option number B. Next question, which of the following have same ploidy level? Means which of the following have same number of chromosomes? So these are the options A, B, C, D. You have to choose the correct answer. Okay, so here the correct answer will be fourth. Okay, the first polar body, this is haploid. Then secondary oocyte, this is also haploid. Spermatozoa, they are also haploid, means they have 23 number of chromosomes. Okay, this primary spermatocyte, they are diploid. Primary oocyte, they are diploid, but secondary polar is haploid. Then oogonia diploid, primary oocyte diploid, but first polar body is haploid. Then second polar body is haploid. Spermatids are haploid, but primary spermatocyte, they are diploid. So answer will be option number D. Then the oogonial cells, this is a filling the blanks question. The oogonial cells start dividing and they enter into dash of meiosis division and can temporarily arrested at that stage. This stage is called what? And during oogenesis at puberty, the oocyte gets surrounded by granulosa cells and then they are called what? So you have to answer this question. These are the four options A, B, C, D. What is the correct answer here? Okay, so correct answer will be option number B here. So oogonial cells, okay, they start dividing and they enter into the prophase 1 of meiosis 1 and they get temporarily arrested here and they are known as the primary oocytes then. And the primary oocyte, they start dividing at the puberty, okay, and they are primary oocyte, they are surrounded by one layer of granulosa cells and then they form the primary follicle. Okay, so option number B will be the correct answer here. Okay, so we have completed this DPP also. All our answers are correct. Okay, so this was the end of this session. I hope this session was quite knowledgeable for you. We'll meet you in the next session. Thank you very much for listening.